in October of 2018. It was the finalist for the 2019 Edgar Award for Best First Novel. The next book he wrote is a sequel to Knife in the Fog, which is called The Queen's Gambit. Bradley Harper is a retired U.S. Army pathologist with over 37 years of worldwide military and medical experience, ultimately serving as a colonel physician in the Pentagon. During his Army career, Harper performed over 200 autopsies, 20 of which were forensic. Upon retiring from the Army, Harper earned an associate's degree in creative writing. He is a regular contributor to the Sisters in Crime monthly newsletter, and his website is bharperauthor.com.
That sounds really good. I'm definitely going to be checking that one out.
It really was a very good book.
Well, my next book is another friend of the show, Amy Stewart. We interviewed her in episode number 72. That seems like a million years ago.
It was a million years ago.
She had written her first installment in the Kopp Sisters series called Girl Waits with Gun, and we fell in love, all three of us. Now we're up to book number 6. She's just pumping them out. In this installment, it is called Dear Miss Kopp. It's put out by Mariner Books, and it was published on January 12th, 2021. It's 1918. The U.S. has finally entered World War I, and Constance is chasing down suspected German saboteurs and spies for the Bureau of Investigation, while Florette is traveling across the country entertaining troops with song and dance. Meanwhile, at an undisclosed location in France, Norma is overseeing her thwarted pigeon project for the Army Signal Corps, while Aggie, a nurse at an American field hospital, is accused of stealing essential medical supplies. The intrepid Norma is on the case to find the true culprit. The far-flung sisters, separated for the first time in their lives, correspond with news of the day. The world has changed. Will the sisters be content to return to the New Jersey farm once the war is over? Told through letters, Dear Miss Kopp weaves the story of real-life women into a rich fiction brimming with historical detail and humor that are hallmark of the series, providing once again that any novel that features the Kopp sisters is going to be riotous. Boy, is that true.
I like this series, and a lot of people might not know that the Kopp sisters were real people.
The most interesting thing about the Kopp sisters was Constance, who was the very first female appointed U.S. deputy sheriff in Hackensack, New Jersey.
Right?
Yep, and she was the matron of the jail, and we learned all that in the book Girl Waits with Gun.
Yes, we did.
It's a fantastic series, and I just devour each one of them. In this installment, the three sisters have scattered to the wind. The book is told through letters between the three sisters and Norma's friend Aggie. And I thought this was a very genius way of telling this story, because with Norma being in France and Florette being all across the country, it was a way for them to still stay connected to each other. That's what this story is about, is the love and care that these three sisters felt for each other.
Yeah, it's always shown through in the other books, so I'm sure it does in this one too.
There are quite a few humorous situations in the book, and one of my favorites is a Florette being part of the USO. I don't think they ever quite use those words, but that's what it reminded me of. She had a bird act with a parrot that she was fostering for a soldier who was getting ready to be sent overseas. She turned lemons into lemonade and developed an act using this bird. It was quite funny. I also learned what a trench cake was. Do you know what a trench cake is?
No.
Well, a trench cake is something that it's like a real cake you eat, but you could make it over in the United States and send it overseas because it didn't have like egg and it had like a lot of seeds and honey and things to hold the thing together. And it wasn't as delicious as real cake, but it would survive the journey overseas. So you could send it to a soldier. That's what Constance was putting together for poor Norma, who was over in France. Over these 6 books, I have grown very fond of Norma, Constance, and Fleurette. But the very best aspect of the book is the care and factual content that Amy includes about life during the Kopp sisters' lifetime. I love the fact that all 3 of the sisters are strong, independent women. I just cannot wait to see where she takes them next. And I heard through, let's say, a little bird that she has lots more content. So there'll be hopefully quite a few more installments of this series.
Oh, good.
This is the type of series that I would definitely start from the beginning, because even though this story is self-contained, you really need to know where they come from. I think you'd be missing something if you just read this one book. But I'm telling you, once you read Girl with Gun, you're going to be clamoring for the next one.
They would miss all the little nuances of each woman. You have to read this one.
Especially people like Fleurette, who, when the series began, she was just kind of a flighty teenager. And here she is now, entertaining troops. When you read them kind of one after another, you're like, wow, she really has come far.
Huh.
Amy Stewart is the New York Times best-selling author of over a dozen books, including Girl Waits with Gun, Lady Kopp Makes Trouble, The Drunken Botanist, and Wicked Plants. She lives in Portland with her husband, Scott Brown, a rare book dealer.
That's the kind of husband I'd like.
Yeah. Her website is amystewart.com, and it's kind of a cool website because there's quite a bit going on in there. She's got information for book clubs. She's got how to take online classes and recipes and virtual events. So it's definitely worth checking out, and you can subscribe to her newsletter. It's a great newsletter. I recommend that as well.
All right. Very good. I guess that gives you 4 books this month to check out. These books are all based on actual people, either as a character or as in the Alice Network, an amalgam of people. But they all existed and they all have fantastic stories of their own. So be sure and pick up these books. You won't be sorry.
The main reason we chose to do these is because March is International Women's Month.
Exactly. Every month should be Women's Month.
Amen, sister or mother.
I was going to say, I'm not your sister, I'm your mother. Trivia. Last week's question was, Stieg Larsson based his character of Lisbeth Salander on which fictional character? A. Pippi Longstocking, B. Heidi, C. Laura Ingalls, or D. Gretel? The answer is A. Pippi Longstocking. Elizabeth Salander is actually fashioned on a grown-up Pippi Longstocking, as Larsson chose to sketch her. The name Salander was actually inspired by the strong female character in the Callie Blomqvist trilogy by Astrid Lindgren. Callie's girlfriend is Eva Lloyd Lysander. This week's question is, which mystery author was made a yeoman of the Tower of London? A. Ian Fleming, B. Tom Clancy, C. Vince Flynn, or D. Jack Carr? Good luck. Well, I guess that brings us to the end of another episode of Dark and Stormy Book Club. We thank you for listening, and we hope you join us next week. If you have a subject you'd like us to cover on our program, send us a note.
And you can send that to us at darkandstormybookclub@gmail.com.
Or visit our website at darkstormybc.com. There you can
submit a short story through our email. You can hook up with us on all of our social media platforms. And you can listen to every single one of our episodes through that website.
And remember,
life would be boring without a little mystery.
bye.
Bye.